Hello, American Crochet Association. Salena Baca here, founder, host, lead educator with the ACA. And on Tuesdays, I like to come here and give you guys a new tip, some kind of tutorial, something that will help to better your crochet life. So if you're watching live, come on over, say hey, say hello, tell me where you're viewing from. And if you're watching on the replay, it's still the same great jam. I hope you enjoy it just as if you were here live. Now, I did have an entirely different tip I wanted to chat with you guys about today, but I was kind of blindsided, as so many of the crochet world were, I think, today, by news that Ravelry has updated their site. So what I've done is, I was not available this morning. I was not at my desk. And as soon as I sat at my desk for these last few hours that I've been here, I've just kind of been going over these changes and these updates. Like them or not, it does seem to be formatted differently. So what I would like to do is just kind of walk you through what Ravelry did look like and what it looks like now, some changes, some consolidations, things like that. So join me. Let me know what you think. If you've already seen it, let me know in the comments. If you haven't seen it, if you're seeing it for the first time, let us know what your thoughts, feedback, reactions are. And if you have any questions, let me know, okay? So if you are part of the American Crochet Association, especially the Learning Path, you will know that we have an entire course dedicated to pattern sourcing, and that includes Ravelry. Ravelry is an amazing database. It's an amazing resource for crocheters, for the yarn community. And so the course really just kind of outlines what Ravelry is and how you can use it to benefit your crochet life. It's a free resource. Of course, there are patterns you can buy there, but you don't have to. It's not a paid membership or anything like that. So to the extent that you can use its free resources is very extensive. So what I want to do right now is show you a little bit of our course, this pattern sourcing and management, just because it shows you what Ravelry used to look like. If you're an ACA member, I just found out about these changes today, so we will be updating this course within the near future. That's part of your membership, is you do get updates in the crochet world as it pertains to your courses, so that's new and exciting. But let's take a peek, okay? So you are getting a behind-the-scenes look, if you are not part of the American Crochet Association, of one of our older courses. And if you are already a member of Ravelry, you might really we've come to love that, the green bar at the top and the Ravelry logo, the ball of yarn and the black lettering. And so just the overall look and feel and format of Ravelry. This right here is the old Ravelry, and that's what we're looking at right now. So there's a few things that I want to, of course, there's lots of things you can do on Ravelry, but the few things that I want to focus on right now today is this top green menu bar. Here, let me see if I can get can you guys see my mouse? No, I don't think I can show you my mouse. Hold on. Of course there's always something that goes wrong with technology. Of course there is. Mouse! No, I can't show. All right, sorry guys. Okay, so up here, I will use my finger. Up here, do you see the green bar at the top? Okay, so some things appear to have changed, but really it looks like some verbiage has changed. Some things have been consolidated, but really everything that you know and love about Ravelry is still there. It just might look a little bit different, okay? So again, this is the old Ravelry. In the top green bar, we see the Ravelry logo. We see that there are quite a few menu bar options, okay? So just kind of going from left to right, we see patterns, yarns, people, groups, help, a search bar, forums, my notebook, pro, of course, because I'm a pro member, I have a pro account there. It means that I have things that I sell, so I do have that pro account. So, just the everyday user who doesn't sell things on Ravelry, it's not going to have that. My basket filled with 85 different patterns. I don't know if you guys, you have the same problem that I do. It looks like an envelope. That's for messaging. And then, of course, my profile picture. Okay, so that's what our menu bar used to look like. And, of course, each one of these menu items has unlocked something different. It holds different things, right? So you can either search through patterns that are on Ravelry. You can search through yarns. You can search people. You can search groups. You can find the help forums. There are forums because, of course, Ravelry is also a social space. So you can join forums. You can join spaces. I'm going to call them like chat rooms, chat spaces, right? Kind of like a group on Facebook almost. It's a little bit like that. My notebook, we're gonna kind of look through that in just a minute. That's gonna hold lots of different things pertaining to your profile. And then of course there's your cart, messaging. You can message individuals back and forth on Ravelry, kind of a cool feature. And then your profile. Okay, so that's what it used to look like. And now let's take a peek at when I logged in today, what I saw. Let me know if you guys have seen this yet. Here, let me kind of fix my screen a little bit. Let me make this a little bit smaller so you guys can really see it. All right, can everybody see? We see quite a few changes, okay? The most notable changes that I see off the top of my hand, off the top of my head, not my hand, is that their logo is now entirely different. No longer do we see that red ball of yarn with the black lettering. It's now this orange lettering. There's now all these little icons around it. That's pretty different and interesting. I will drop a link for this so that you can read this. And really just as soon as you log into Ravelry, if you just click on Ravelry right there. Oh, there's my hand. There it is. Okay. As soon as you click on that, the very first thing that you see is this post from Ravelry just outlining some of these changes. So you guys can go over there and read directly from Ravelry what these changes are and things of that nature. Interesting. Okay. So already they're saying, yes, there are a few glitches. Yes, we're kind of going through those. So, they even have a means of offering feedback. So if you do need some feedback or if you do want to give some feedback, there are ways for you to look at that. There are some bugs. So you can kind of look through those. All right. So they're fully recognizing that it's rolled out. It's not a perfect system. They're still working on it. But we see some similarities. Okay. No longer do we have that big green bar at the top, which a lot of people say they really miss. But we do still have this search bar up here, and we're going to see some things that we remember, but there's still some things that are going to be new and different. Okay, let me see if I can get a side-by-side comparison a little bit here. All right, okay, so here we see there's still patterns. Patterns is still there, right? So we see the logo, we see patterns, we see yarns. But where we saw people and groups and forums on the top bar, those have all been consolidated, which I think is brilliant. I actually really welcome that change. So now instead of seeing people, groups, forums all at the top there, now we just see community. And I think that's brilliant because I think that Ravelry is a community, but so often people don't associate Ravelry as being a community. And so having all of that information right here in one spot, here we can see boards, forums, people, friends, groups, events, messaging. So really it's kind of lumped in all of those social aspects into one place. So really, I think that was one of my most favorite changes that I saw here. Okay. All right. So let me see if I can toggle back and forth. Oh man, I'm really not very technologically advanced. Okay. All right. So community does encompass people, groups, forums. And again, we don't see that little envelope icon up here anymore. It doesn't mean you're not able to message anymore. It just means that it's all under that community button. Okay. So instead of help, it used to be called help, as we can see here. Now it's called support. So it's still offering that same aspect there. There was a little just spyglass there, and that spyglass means advanced support. So whatever you need in that advanced support feature. Okay, so let's see. We still have the cart where it used to be a shopping cart right here on the old green system. Now we have, it looks like a purse or like a shopping bag. So that's kind of cute. That's a new change. Oh, I was wrong. See, it's still even so new to me. I was wrong. We do still have this little messaging here, only instead of it just being like a black outline envelope, now it's this purple and pink. See, even it's so new. I don't have it all, kind of laid out yet. It's still so new for me. And we do have this messaging right here. So we do still have messaging right up here on the top of the search bar. Sorry, guys. Okay. We still have my notebook. And of course, I have a pro account, and then there is the icon, and that's where your profile is, okay? Now, my notebook, here, let's take a peek at what my notebook used to have, because my notebook does look a little different, okay? And I found that kind of interesting. So I'm going through the course. This is all course information here. Okay, profile, preferences, notebook. Okay. So it used to be whenever you clicked on my notebook, there was this whole list of things that you could do there. There were projects, handspun, stash, queue, favorites, friends, groups and events, needle and hook, library, messaging box, blog posts, contributions, purchases. So anything that's social, I'm pretty sure all of those social aspects like groups and events, friends, all of those things, it's really kind of lumping together a lot of social features, a lot of community features with things that pertain to your stash, your favorites, things that you save, things that you do. So it's separated those, okay? So this is what my notebook used to look like. My notebook now looks a little different. Do you see now to where it's very specific to your projects? That means the things that you make and you add to Ravelry, the things that are in your queue, the things that you are saving in line to do. Your stash, that's a pretty fantastic feature. Not everyone uses it. I sure wish that I was using it to its full potential. That's where you can catalog all of the yarn that you have. It's absolutely fantastic. Hand spun, I'm pretty sure that's if you make yarn. I forget that one exactly. I think that it's if you made yarn, you can add it, but don't quote me on that. I'd have to go back and look. Your tools, you can annotate and catalog all of your crochet hooks. If you're a knitter, you can add knitting needles. And that way, if you're like me and you buy a lot of, different kinds of crochet hooks, you can say, all right, I'm buying another polymer clay hook, but I already have 5 H hooks, so maybe I should buy an I or a J. So it's really kind of a one-stop place where you can see what you have. Favorites and your library. Now, one thing that took me a minute to find, because I knew that you guys were going to ask, were purchases. A lot of times when we purchase things on Ravelry, if we're new, and I know this from a seller's perspective, if you're brand new to Ravelry, you may buy something and go, where is it? So that's something that took me a minute to kind of find where it is, because it used to be in my notebook, it was the last feature. You could clearly see purchases there, okay? So again, I'm still brand new to this. I've only been on the new site for a couple of hours, but this is what I found, okay? So when you click on my notebook, of course, these are the options that you now have, and purchases is not part of the immediate list. So let me remember how I found it. I'm pretty sure I clicked on library. Let's do this together. Again, I was so excited to do this with you guys that I have no notes. We're just, I spent a couple hours here and now here I am. Okay, interestingly enough, okay, so this is your library. And as we know on Ravelry, it's got that gray shelf. It looks like you're looking at a bookshelf, right? And it puts everything that you own on that shelf. And you can kind of search through. You can look for title, author, date added, published. You can rearrange. It can look like a shelf or a list or details. So you can really kind of play around with what that looks like, right? But that still doesn't answer the question, where are the things that I bought? Okay, so this is your library. A library is different than purchases. You can add things to a library that you don't own, or that's the way it used to be. I don't know if that's been an update. So for example, I can see something that I like. I want to add it to my library as opposed to adding it to my favorites or putting it in a queue. So there's lots of different things that you can do to categorize something. All right, so we're here in my notebook, and I clicked on library, so that's where we are now. Now, do you see this left-hand side where it says everything? Okay, here's everything. Types. Do I want to look for books, book looks, magazines, signal patterns? And then there's a section that says sets. I think that's kind of an odd name. It's if it makes sense to you guys, it's kind of going over my head, but I see sets as recently added, purchases, will sell or trade, and of course that's pertaining to products. Maybe you have yarn or some stash or something like that. So when you click on purchases, that's where it's going to give you all the purchases that you have. So those were a few things that I thought were interesting. Those are some things that I knew that if you're a Ravelry user, if you were logging on and you're like, wait a minute, I just want to find, why is it different? How is it different? And I just want to find my purchases. There you go. Those are some of the things that I thought you guys would ask. I also wanted to take a minute and look at the profile for a second, okay? And of course, how you get to your profile on the new system is exactly how you got to your profile on the old system, okay? So whenever you kind of hover over your icon, your profile icon, you can see your profile, you can view and edit your profile. If you sell designs, of course, it will, that section will come up. So it may not look like that for you. Settings, you can customize your Ravelry, contributions. Oh, this is interesting. Purchases. So that's another place for, again, we're kind of going through this together. I don't think that was there before, but let's kind of verify that. So you can also find purchases just by hovering over your profile and scrolling down to purchases. Oh, that's interesting. Hold on. Profile. Did we already go through that? Let's see what the old system looked like together. Ravelry profile. Okay, let's see. Because I don't think it was there. I could be wrong, but I don't think... Yeah, my profile used to just be... I think it was important stuff, email, blog feed, private settings, password, personal bits, fun, personal stats, social sites. You can have up to 24. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So when you click on profile, I don't know if there was a Dropbox for my profile. I'm not sure what it used to look like, but certainly now I think that will be a welcome thing for people. Because now that's just one easier way you can find your purchases. Again, I'm not sure if that was there before. So my purchases, that's another way you can do that. Okay. All right. I also think when you click on, let me see, where was I? I really wanted to show you guys that it looked like it was far easier to add your projects. And really, I'm always an advocate for adding your projects to Ravelry because I think that it works for everyone involved. If you're a crocheter and you're making things, you want to attribute the items that you make with the patterns that you used for so many reasons. It's great to have that annotation of the work that you've done. It's great to have, kind of collect your resume, but then also maybe you make something and you make it more than one time, maybe use different yarns or you use different sizes. Again, it's a great way for you to collect your crochet resume. It's also great for the pattern writers because they're seeing that people are actually working up their designs and maybe they get feedback, thoughtful feedback or see that people are using different yarns or things like that. So really it's an excellent, it's an excellent feature for them as well. But just for the crochet community to go and search through patterns, it's great for them to see, oh, I'm interested in this design and wow, there's 50 projects. Let me go look at those. It looks like other people were not only interested in this design as well, but they were actually following through and making it. So that's interesting as well. I thought it was easier to add projects. Wow, let me see. Hold on. View my profile. Okay, all right, I'm viewing my profile. It looks like it may just be the same thing. It may just be the same. I thought it was a little easier, but let's go through. Let me check something. Okay, so for example, all right, the broomstick lace placemat. Let's take a peek at that. This has, all right, already, okay, so some other changes that I see here just to the product page or the pattern listing page, right? That's what we're looking at now. We can find details, yarn ideas, projects, comments. I'm not sure if there's any difference to this as opposed to what we used to see, but we can see that there are, some of the same terminology. You can save this to your favorite. So instead of it being a pink heart, which it used to be, now it's kind of a red yarn heart. So that's kind of cool. Here it's a little easier to create a project. There's just this little crochet hook here. You can share it. So maybe you want to share this on social media or something. My phone is being very loud. I'm sorry. You can add this to your library, add it to your queue, all of that. You can send it as a gift, add it to your cart. You can buy it now. Those are some features we've seen in the past. It's still, we can see that, gone are the green boxes. So really it's all just kind of white. We're seeing whites. We're seeing this like minty green lettering, which I was having a I was having a public conversation about this in my own personal group, Salena Baca Crochet, and a lot of people were saying that this particular color was hard on their eyes. So there is an alternate version you can use for this. And here, if I just do this, you can request that dark mode. So if you don't like the bright white with the new coloring they're using, you can, it's taking a minute, you can request for what they call a dark mode. And again, that's just on the Ravelry homepage here. Let me see. If you'd like to be in the testing pool, let me see. New look. We've if you need Ravelry logos or icons for your own site. Hold on one second. I thought there was a way to add it to dark mode right here. I'll get back to that. I'll do a little bit more research on that, but I thought it was abundantly clear right there. But anyway, if you don't like the coloring, if it's hard on your eyesight, if it's difficult to read, I think there is an alternative. I thought it was easier to find, but anyway, I'll find that solution. I'll link it. So already we see that just the format looks a little different, but really it's still offering all the same information. So I found that very refreshing because I like the amount of information on these product pages. Okay. I do like that on the project section. Again, there's lots of different ways you can view these, but really the format is about the same, right? So the format's about the same, but really, you know, the style, the colors, that is a little bit different. So I found that really interesting as well. And then you can just all the same search features and things like that. Whew. All right, guys. So that was as far as I got today at the first look. And now I would love to hear what you guys are saying, what you think. So I'm going to go on over to our comments. Let me see. I'm going to go on over to the comments, see who's here, give you guys some shout outs. And I'd love to hear what you guys think. Lisa's here. Hello, Lisa. Let me add your comments so that we can kind of see that and still see what we're talking about here. Lisa, thank you for being here and saying hello. Rosetta Williams, always so good to see you. Good afternoon. Brenda, Allison. Michelle is here from Delaware. Jessica Fitzsimmons, she says, watching from Georgia, listening in while I wrap up my day at work. I hope you had a lovely day. Our DePolly is here. DePolly, it's always a pleasure to see you. Good evening from Vermont, says Penny. Rama Lakshmi is here. Hello and good evening to you. Our Laura is here. Of course, Laura is our membership guru here at the American Crochet Association. She makes sure everything works behind the scenes flawlessly, so we could not do this without her. DePolly is listening while walking. She did this course last week. Would love to see the updates. Yeah, we will certainly get these updates in as soon as possible. It obviously was not on our schedule because we weren't aware of these updates until literally this morning. So I'm going to put a little bit of time and effort and research into what has changed, how it's different, and we'll definitely get that course up to date for all of our members. Oh, Laura, of course, we have so many of our ACA members who are friends, so they're all chatting in the sidelines. I love that. I absolutely love seeing our community just, come together and even say hello to each other. It's beautiful. Hello, Francis. So good to see you. Okay, let's see what questions you guys have. Rosetta says, I've been to Ravelry today and it does look different. Very, very different. Melody says it looks nice. Francis, gosh, I was already confused with Ravelry. Now this has to happen. If you guys are confused with Ravelry, I still think our course will be very beneficial. So if you'd like to understand Ravelry better, you're welcome to take our Sourcing Mastery course. Of course, it's part of the learning path of the American Crochet Association. You can find that at americancrochetassociation.com. So if you'd like to understand any of the working aspects of Ravelry, that course is still very relevant. Of course, it's going to look different. And of course, there's been some things consolidated, but I'm pretty sure all of those features are still there and maybe even in better working order than they were before. Rama says it looks nice. At first look, I thought it looks clean. It looks a little more modern. Ravelry has looked the same since I've used it, and I think I joined back in 2009. So I thought, wow, this does look a little newer. It does look a little more minimalistic. So I thought it was very refreshing. Do I love it? I'm not one that embraces change very well. I do kind of clam up to change, but I love Ravelry. I love the features that it has. And so I was very intrigued, and I definitely loved I enjoyed looking around to see what was different. Hello, June. Good to see you. June made it to the live. Yes, you did. Absolutely. Laura says, Selena's walkthrough of the new Ravelry is so helpful. Again, I'm just kind of walking through it after only having spent about 2 hours on this new site. So I do feel like I kind of fumbled through it a little bit, but I'm really excited to learn this better and then share that information with you guys. Andrea, I wish I was organized enough to use the stash and tools feature. Me too, Andrea. But I will tell you, I have used tools far more than I've used the yarn stash, and it's really helped me because I do have. I'll show you guys. I have. You might want to call it an unhealthy habit with collecting crochet hooks. And so I do use that feature because I don't want to own 10 H crochet hooks, you know? It helps me to kind of vary the stash that I have so that I'm not constantly, every time there's a new crochet hook that I want to buy, I don't have to go, let me round up all my hooks and let me sort through them. You know, I can clearly see what I have. So that's been a really helpful tool for me. Amanda says, oh, wow. Is that a good wow or bad wow? Francis says, oh, so that's where I can put my hooks and tools. Yes, I know. So some of the terminology isn't really abundantly apparent. I think that this can be a user-friendly site if you understand the terminology and if you understand the intent behind some of these things. You know, for example, you might not have ever gone to forums before, but maybe after understanding what a forum is, especially on this platform, you might find a few that you're interested in. Amanda says, glad I have Friday off, going to be busy looking through the changes. If you're already familiar with Ravelry, I think that the changes will be very few and far between. That's actually the experience that I'm having so far. At first I thought, oh no, it's changed and it's different. But really after I just kind of thought, okay, wait a minute, let me start with the menus and let me go from there. It really wasn't an overwhelming change that I felt like I had to relearn. It felt very intuitive. So if you are familiar with Ravelry, just start with the menu bars at the top and go from there. Rosetta is so kind. She says hello to everyone. She's so friendly. Amanda says, I would have been so lost. Thanks, Salena. My pleasure. My pleasure. You know, this is a big change. This is a huge forum in a huge place in the yarn and crochet community. And, you know, I was very shocked, to say the least, to see these changes this morning. I didn't hear about it. I didn't see it coming. So I didn't want anyone to have that same shock. And I didn't want anyone to feel like, oh no, it's changed, it's different, I just give up. I didn't want anyone to have a negative experience just because I think it's such a valuable tool. Let's see, Francis. Oh boy, I have to add 3 project, was backed up by being sick. Thank you, Salena, for this. My pleasure. I hope you're feeling much better. Hello, Connie Brooks from Tennessee. Good to see you here. Tammy's here. Hey, Tammy. That's all right. I'll forgive you this one time. Actually, I was late today too. I had initially scheduled this to be an hour ago and I was 30 minutes late just because at the last minute I decided that this was going to be our Tip Tuesday, but I really wanted to give you guys a good conversation about this. So I was a little late, just kind of trying to prepare last minute. Tammy says, I love how it looks mobile. You know, Tammy, I agree. I actually prefer the look of this new format in mobile. I often look up Ravelry on my mobile device. And so I found the change in format to be very refreshing. So I do agree with you. Hello, Anne. So good to see you. Hello, Andrea from Illinois. Good to see you as well. June says, I was just getting used to the old format. Again, if you were used to the old format, if you just start with the menu bar on top, you'll see that there are some things that have been consolidated, particularly the community features. But if you just take a little bit of time going through those menu bars and just kind of looking at the first place that menu takes you and just the scroll down options, I think that you'll find that it is pretty intuitive. But anyway, take a peek and let us know what you think. Fran says, this is great. Can't wait to play around with the new Ravelry. Tammy says, is speaking to Andrea. She says, me too, but my stash is a little daunting to wade through. Yeah, my stash is a little crazy. It really is. And I find that I have a lot of stash that I de-stash a lot. And so for me, it seems like an overwhelming task. If someone would like to stash all of my yarn, I would love them for it. But am I going to do that myself? I don't think I'm going to do that with everything as much as I would like to. Brenda, thanks for going over the Ravelry changes. I'll need to go back and go through it again myself. Yes, I encourage you to do that. Tammy says, I love how much you can customize your searches on Ravelry. Oh my gosh. The Ravelry searches are some of my favorite features. I absolutely agree with you. Tammy, once I got my Clover Amore hooks, I haven't purchased another hook. My old arthritic hands do so much better with them. Oh, I'm so glad that you found some crochet hooks that really help you to crochet with comfort. Aurora, she says, thanks for going over it. My pleasure. Anne says, it looks better, but I think I can handle it. Yeah, don't be scared. That was the whole reason I was doing this today, is to let you guys know change is here, but let's go over some things together. Natalia, good to see you. Lynette is here. Hello, Lynette. Natalia says, it's so much better on the phone now. I haven't tried the desktop version yet. Yeah, and both options are available. I think when you're scrolling on your phone, I think that the mobile option is, you'll find it somewhere. If you scroll down to the bottom of a screen, it will say, do you want to switch to mobile? So that's kind of a helpful feature. All right, the last comment that I see is from Anne. She says, I guess it's not bad. I can find everything I use. Now to try the other features. Yeah, there's a lot of features here. I find that I don't use half of them. But again, if you'd like to understand some of the features on Ravelry, if you'd like a deeper understanding for how it can better your crochet life, we do have a course that you guys can follow at the American Crochet Association. It's our sourcing mastery course, and you can of course find our course at americancrochetassociation.com. All right, so those are all of the shout outs. Those are all of the questions and comments. If you guys love Ravelry, click on over, scroll around. Let us know what you think in the comments. We'd love to hear. If you have any questions, comments, let us know, post them in the comments here and we can definitely have a conversation. Again, I am posting the link to Ravelry. I'm posting that in the comments now, and that way you can see this page that I'm looking at right now. Why won't it let me post? Anyway, okay, there it is. All right, so you guys can see this new post with the information from Ravelry. You can actually contact Ravelry directly about the new look, and you can, leave them some feedback about your feelings about the changes. It says, and then it does list some bugs and little details that they're going to fix. And shucks, I really wish I could find, let me see, that dark mode preference. You can adjust your format preferences by using the settings tab. All right, let's try that real quick. Activity fee, quick magic links. Organize your board. I mean, there's so many things you can do. I don't think all of the settings have been updated. They may be different. Anyway, I'm gonna do a little bit more digging on that dark mode again, and that's especially for everyone who feels that this look is a little too stark and it's difficult for them to read. So I will find that information. I will update this video so that you guys can have that. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Tip Tuesday. Again, it was off the cuff. I wish that I was much more versed in the changes, but I did want to share with you guys as much as I knew as soon as possible. And I hope you enjoy the change. I hope you do. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here. Peace, love, crochet. It is always a pleasure to be part of the American Crochet Association, and it's wonderful to see our community members here. Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.